Bitcoin has fallen from $65,000 to $57,000. What is happening? A court in the US has mandated the bankruptcies. This news has caused further concern, but what really scared Bitcoin investors was the warning from the US Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) about the inadmissibility of paying creditors in stablecoins or any other digital assets. This means that the exchange cannot compensate in cryptocurrency. As a result, investors have started to speculate that Tether could collapse as well. They are also worried that FTX may have to liquidate its digital assets for fiat currency, meaning they would need to sell their coins and cryptocurrencies for cash in US dollars. This is why fear and chaos reign in the market right now. Bitcoin has dropped to $57,000, and some analysts are already predicting a decline to $45,000 in the near future. Against this backdrop, the Fear and Greed Index has fallen to 26 points, and the capital flows into Bitcoin are significantly less than those flowing into stable coins. This indicates that investors are moving into stable coins, selling off their assets for safety, or to accumulate stable coins for future purchases during the downturn. So, the plan to repay debts to creditors and FTX customers included payments in stable coins in the amount of $12 billion. However, the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) is now warning them against this, calling such payments illegal. The SEC also reserve the right to challenge any transactions FTX makes with crypto assets. In addition, the SEC opposed provisions that could protect FTX from lawsuits from creditors. Why is the SEC doing this? Perhaps the reason lies in the bill from 2023 called CL4 Stable Payments, the law on transparency of payments in stable coins, which may be adopted by the end of this year. This law is intended to regulate stable coins and the companies that issue them in the United States. CoinGeek reports that if this bill is passed, it could create problems for Tether Trust, as well as for algorithmic stable coins, such as the FTX stable currency. It is possible that the SEC knows something about this law and its possible adoption by the end of the year. That's why they warn FTX against any transactions involving stable coins and literally force the exchange to make payments to customers in fiat currency, that is, in US dollars. This may force FTX to sell its cryptocurrency assets. We can see that the main digital assets they owned were Solana, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. This information is somewhat outdated, and by now they may have already sold many of these cryptocurrencies, but potentially they may still have a large amount of US. We see that, at the time of writing this report, they had $120 million. However, if they sell all these cryptocurrencies, it will mean that they have $3.5 billion. If FTX has to convert these $3.5 billion in Tether into fiat, then Tether itself will have to liquidate positions worth $3.5 billion. Tether's reserves currently amount to $118 billion. We see that 110 million of them, for example, are held in cash or in bank deposits. Their reserves also include corporate bonds, collateralized debts, and even precious metals. If they need to liquidate $3.5 billion from their reserves by selling some of their positions, this may lead to the fact that in the short term, Tether will not be fully backed by US dollars on a one-to-one basis. This means that we may see a decrease in the value of Tether, which could immediately lead to the collapse of Tether and a significant drop in the price of Bitcoin. This could become a black swan, especially if this bill is passed before the end of the year. Interestingly, this event may coincide with the pattern on the chart. On July 5, we observed a drop in the Bitcoin exchange rate due to the Black Swan event. On August 5, we had a Black Swan in the Japanese real estate market, and the Bitcoin exchange rate also fell. Now September 5th is approaching, and the disconnection of Tether from the dollar may well become a new Black Swan. But is it really that scary? Try to answer this question in the comments. Personally, I see September in the bull market as an opportunity to buy. Seasonality confirms this, as we discussed in previous videos. Historically, September is considered a red month, while the fourth quarter is usually green. The whales seem to believe it too, as the number of whales has increased significantly in the last 24 hours. On August 30th, they reached a new historical peak, restraining the growth of the Bitcoin price, and at the same time accumulating coins like never before. I think this is a very positive factor. It is a very optimistic indicator. Institutions continue to accumulate Bitcoins. However, retail investors show very little interest. Those who are interested are currently experiencing fear. The level of interest among retail investors is at levels we haven't seen since 2020, while the fear and greed index for cryptocurrencies is at its lowest level all year. On the contrary, institutions continue to buy more and more Bitcoins, including from companies such as BlackRock. They know that the supply of Bitcoins is limited, so they can continue to accumulate and buy more coins while fear reigns in the markets. This is the best opportunity for them, and they will do everything to keep us at bay for as long as possible. It could be a trap where people are selling now out of fear due to the liquidation of $12 billion worth of crypto assets, only to later see a green chart like in 2020. Notice how today's Bitcoin price movement, these candlesticks, coincides with the 2020 movement shown on this green chart. We are currently somewhere here, as the relative strength index shows. The Bitcoin price fluctuates in certain ranges, just when the RSI is approaching the weekly average, here, here and here. We observed this situation from March to October 2023, and from April to October 2020. And guess what happened next? Bitcoin has been growing here and now. Today's situation is reminiscent of 2020, also because we are seeing a record surge in purchases from whales. In 2020, there was a significant surge in purchases, and in 2024 we are seeing another significant surge from major players. Both then and now we are trading at levels close to previous historical highs. While retail investors are getting bored and scared, whales are aggressively buying up Bitcoin. We have never seen personal savings plummet to historic lows, which we have almost never seen in at least the last 50 years. This means that people are not saving much money, they have no savings, but they are spending more and more on debt servicing, including credit cards. As a result, everyone's interest costs are getting higher and higher. For some, this is another reason to fear an impending recession or collapse. It's going to be very bad. But for me, it's just an opportunity to prepare for such a scenario. If the market offers good discounts, I will be very happy about it. I win in any situation because I am a long-term investor, not a short-term trader trying to catch a bottom or a peak. Using leverage is a direct path to bankruptcy. I always try to average my position by buying when the fear and greed index drops below 20. But this is certainly not financial advice. Right now we see that the market is very scared, and this fear prevents people from seeing the most important thing. What is happening now marks a new chapter in the history of Bitcoin adoption, and it is truly amazing. We are witnessing an event where an entire country accepts cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, for international transactions, and this will happen today. Can you believe it? The largest countries will exchange goods for Bitcoins, but not for US dollars or yuan, but for Bitcoin. It's incredible. If this is not a new era for Bitcoin, then what is it? But that's not all. The Swiss central bank is buying MicroStrategy shares, which tells us two things. Firstly, they believe in the future of Bitcoin and MicroStrategy, as the company is heavily dependent on Bitcoin. If the Swiss central bank didn't believe in Bitcoin, why would it invest in a company that relies entirely on its price? Secondly, this move by the Swiss central bank could potentially indicate that institutional confidence in Bitcoin, their reserve asset, is growing. This means that eventually we can see all the central banks of the world buying Bitcoin like gold, and they are currently buying a lot of gold. Just look at where gold is now. It's reaching new peaks after new ones, and it's been like this for a whole year. The same thing will happen with Bitcoin.
On our Telegram channel, you will find the main news, an overview of the crypto markets. We regularly monitor coins that can give big excess. Welcome. See you soon, friends.